You can only do that about half an inch at a time. You didn't want to go to Tijuana? No, come on, but you go fast. So you don't spin the track. So you won't be free up here.
All right, 6:30. How's everybody this morning? Good. This week's code of conduct is to maintain confidentiality of insider information learned about ECI and about our clients. So it kind of goes back to last week about the discretion part. So really got to be careful what we say. We got to really know our audience, so it's important. So that's a good code item of the week. Another 7 days without a recordable. So nice job out there. We got through the month of August without really a recordable injury. So that's an excellent job. So now we got about 3 to 4 months left of the construction season. So we're getting really down to the nitty gritty. So we can really hopefully finish the year strong by remembering all those systems that we have in place and just let's not get complacent. Let's really focus on JHAs in the morning, communicating those hazards, controlling those hazards through the engineering controls and admin controls, and working together. This week we're changing gears a little bit, kind of following Ken's blog. We're going to be talking about EEO, but before we do that, Joe Appleton wanted quickly to announce the new upgrade app that's going to be launched.
Yeah, so I know a few months back they released this new mobile app, which worked for some of us, didn't work for others. So they finally are releasing a new version, which would hopefully get rid of all the bugs that we're still dealing with and add some more enhancements as well. So Thursday, September 12th, they're releasing a new app. The only action that we need to do is just make sure if we're using the app. So some of us are still using the actual app, and some of us are using like our web browser, depending on if you've had challenges or not. So if you're still using the actual app on your tablets or your phones, just make sure before September 12th, so Wednesday evening, September 11th, submit everything you've got so you don't lose it. So if you've got any saved time cards for your crew, if you've got your equipment entries and things like that, make sure you submit those before Thursday morning so you don't lose it when they do the changeover. And then once after Thursday morning around 5 to 6 a.m., they're going to release the new upgrade. And Brendan will be able to all the tablet users, Brendan will be able to push that app upgrade to your devices so you don't have to go and download anything. I think the only thing you may have to do is go and find the app and re-drag it into your home screen so it's accessible. And we can help with all that stuff. So definitely give us a call if you have any questions. We'll send some emails, and maybe Matt can send some updates through the ECI app to just remind people to just get that information submitted. We don't want anybody to have a couple days worth of information that gets lost that we have to redo. So, any questions now, or
Are you doing anything with the web portal?
no? If you're doing your time on the web, through your web browser, then there's no issue. Nothing's changing there as far as you're not going to lose any time or anything like that. So, just the mobile app users. So I know some of you are still using it, which is great. Some of us we've gone away from it because it's been giving you some challenges or not working properly. So if you're still using it, that just pertains primarily to phones. Same thing on the phones. It'll be the same. So if you're using the app on your phone, then just make sure you submit everything before Wednesday. You don't have to have the whole weekend, but just if you've got stuff for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, just get it submitted before so you don't lose it Thursday morning when they do the swap. Give myself a call, give Justin a call, Matt a call, Ben a call. We'll all help out. Make sure we go smooth. Thank you.
Thank you. And we're going to pass it over to Mr. Dow
I'll
and Ken.
do the intro on it.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Ken will do the intro.
We are an equal opportunity employer, and there's an EEO. There's a commission, a federal commission that makes sure everybody does, proper behavior and relationship between the employer and the employee. And then there's some other issues related to, making sure that we're giving everybody the opportunities and stuff to have positions in the company, and making sure that someone's not discriminating against another employee, that sort of thing. And we are committed to do that, but also we are contractually committed by contracts with like VTrans and other federal and state and municipal agencies that we might have a project with. So one of the questions that could come up, and we do have an audit coming up, it's They picked us because I think they know us a little bit, and we're doing this for the state. It's a VTrans thing over on the 2A job. And one of the questions would be, who is your EEOC officer? Anyone got any ideas? There he is, right there. Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, you saved me with from the hard part. So the EEO, Equal Employment Opportunity, is a law, and if you guys notice on every one of our state jobs, they actually require this poster, which we'll see in a second. And basically, we're required actually every year to come before you guys and tell you this is what the commission stands for, and this is what it is. We are we consider ourselves to be equal opportunity employer. You see that on a lot of websites. You see it in ads, equal opportunity employer. It's easier for us because it's part of our culture is that we do try to treat people as a culture, as a corporate culture. We try to treat people equally with respect to all these things: race, religion, sex, color, national origin, age, disability, citizenship, veteran status, marital status, and sexual orientation and sexual identification. And what that means is that when we're promoting or hiring, giving people raises, things like that, we are committed to not use those things as a judge to whether someone gets a promotion or not, or someone gets, more money, or someone gets let go. What we try to do is remember this and then look at the qualifications of the person. There's other things that we use. We use like years of service. Somebody's been here a long time. We use the amount of dedication that they put in, the amount of training that they have, their ability, things like that aren't part of this law. The things that are part of this law is when you skew your qualifications into saying that these are qualifications, and they're not. So the state projects, like Ken said, require that we follow these very strictly. They require, there's also, in a lot of cases, you'll see they'll have rated pay, where people get certain rates of pay. That's all kind of tied to this law also, with the certified payroll and making sure that everyone's getting paid for the right class. Other things related to this are harassment. A lot of people get harassed because of these things. People get harassed for other reasons, but bullying and harassing, we don't tolerate it. We shouldn't be tolerating it from each other or from the people that we're working for or the people that we're working with. So that's all tied into this stuff too. If you really get into the thickness of all the information that you get from the state of Vermont, besides the couple of posters that they put out for you, I mean, you'll see this one. How do I advance this? Okay, equal opportunities. This poster here, you'll see this. You should see this probably in all our buildings, right? Yep. You should see it on those poster boards. When you guys are on the state job, the civil rights people come, and part of the audit is they want to see this poster. Actually, if you guys want to read, if you guys ever are at the poster, you can read this. It tells everything right here. Everything's right there. It talks about the different criteria that we're not supposed to be using to judge people. It talks about, it gets also into disabilities, which is something that we didn't have listed there. But if somebody's disabled and you're using that as a criteria to judge them, that's not allowed either. Retaliation, and if someone feels like they're being retaliated against or discriminated against, what to do. So what do we do here if we feel that we're being discriminated against? What do you guys do? You can come to me You should come to me, but you can go to any of the supervisors. Go to your supervisor, because I got to make sure that those people are all every 6 months notified that, hey, what this is what you do. You got to come to me, because that's my responsibility corporately as the EEO officer, is to make sure that this stuff isn't happening. And in some cases, when people have come, it's pretty cut and dried, and you got to deal with it. In other cases, there are people that get disgruntled or upset because they feel that they're being discriminated against, and actually they may not be. Sometimes they're not, because they build it up in their own mind. So it's in the eyes of the person that feels that they're being discriminated against. You can feel that you're not discriminating against someone, but if they feel that they're discriminated against, then it becomes an issue here. Because every day that you go to work and you feel I'm getting treated different, you build in your mind that there's a problem. You get more and more upset, and then finally, someday you get into an argument with someone, and you could end up in an irreconcilable condition where you end up having to leave the company because you created so much havoc because you're upset about something. So if you feel that something like this is happening, or if you feel that somebody's not treating you right, deal with it right away. Talk to somebody. It's hard at first. It's always hard at first, because you don't want to be the one that's complaining about someone else. But if we just deal with it right away, it gets a lot easier to make it go away after one day than 16 or 18 days or 6 months. A lot of you guys that I see in here right now have had issues, over the years where something started to bother you, and we've figured out what it was and gone back and done a reset where we've had to get together with people. And usually it's a learning process on both sides. On your part as well. Maybe it wasn't all the other person. Maybe they weren't really discriminating. Maybe some of it's me. When both parties are sitting in the room, and we've done it many times, and both parties are taking a little bit of ownership and responsibility, we can come to that good place that we need to come to. But the equal employment opportunity law is a law. We need to follow it on all of our federal funded projects. It's a contractual requirement, and we can actually be held. We're held to a high standard in that regard. So if it is happening, we've had it happen on our jobs where we've had to deal with this stuff, and it's amazing how powerful it is if you are actually, in fact, apparently, or if you would be breaking these laws. It's very serious, and it can hurt a lot. It can hurt our production, because all of a sudden we're focused on dealing with this issue. So if a little issue seems to be there, let's get it clarified right away. Come to me, go to Ken, go to Scott, go to Matt Orzalak, any of the managers. They need to understand that they need to bring it to me, and we will get it solved. Do you guys have any questions or comments? Everybody knows who the EEO officer is, right? It's me. But if I'm not there, talk to somebody. Talk to somebody. Because a lot of times when you have that courage to talk to somebody and you can't find me, a lot of people will say, the next day it's not as important. Well, sometimes it really could be. So just talk to somebody, and then they'll help you to say, hey, remember, we got to deal with this. So look for help.
Okay. Thanks, Ben.
Yep. You okay? Oh, and if anybody wants to go over the policy, it's very repetitive, but if you want, I have a copy of it always in my office, and feel free to come in. I can give people a copy if they want. If you want it, come and get it. Yep.
So it is available, and also
It's available.
when we do orientation for new employees, it's kind of the basic outline of the program, who to work with if there's issues. Okay, for announcements, as we said, I think the other day, we have new fuel cards. So for both trucks and equipment, and if you have an old blue card, it needs to get exchanged for a white card.
And those are by the end of the month, I think, right? The blue ones are gonna stop working
Okay.
at the end of September.
All right, so
Yeah.
sooner or later, everyone will be in to get a card. And a reminder, the school is back in session. High school, the elementary schools, kindergarten, everything, colleges too. So be careful out there. Watch out for buses, as we mentioned last week. And the foundation update we covered. Also, try to get your time in early the day after the work was performed, because it gives the best information and most accurate and timely stuff. So on this week's project, we're profiling the Route 101 water main replacement in Hampton, New Hampshire. 101 is that road. It probably goes further west, but I always think of it from Manchester to Hampton Beach. And we were contracted by this company, the general contractor, Jamco Excavators, to install roughly 400-foot long section across this Tide Mill Creek. So it's right up, pretty much right to the beach. Just, the backwaters on the land side. Got all the Hampton, it's actually Northampton, but the beach area, and then you always have that long straightaway of marshland. This is under one of the sections of marshland, and install a water line for the local water district. And pull back a 16-inch SDR11 dip size HDPE pipe with a minimum depth of 12 feet below the bottom of that river. A very slow tidal type of movement versus a real, what we might think of as a river. And ground conditions were pretty hard rock. We did the pilot hole drilling with a Ditch Witch AT all-terrain. Reaming and pullback were done with 100 all-terrain. And the Tulsa rig iron reclaimer pump system was used during all phases of work. Let's see here, this was...
That's their locating device.
Yeah, that's locating. That was the day I was out there. I took the picture, and they were running down. This is a pilot hole. They were going down at 2.5%, 38 foot 4 inches of depth, and then they got a clock in the battery and everything. Just they put it out there, and they can just track to that locating device back at the rig. Here's the reclaimer end of the project. And there, you can't really see, you kind of see some material coming off. It was in the rock, so it was just a kind of broken, gritty rock, almost looked like a sand, pretty much. And this is actually the pullback. Well, it doesn't look like they pulled back yet, because in the process, because the pipe's laying there. This was yesterday or the day before, sometime this week. This is the day I was out there. They were drilling from the opposite side. The body of water would cross here. That previous picture, they drilled and reamed from the back side after they got the pilot hole in. And that was, well, you can't really see 101, but this is 101 right here. 101 goes from the divided highway as you get right to Hampton. It comes down to 2 lanes.
So that's tidal then.
That's tidal. You can see that's looks like a low tide condition there. And it's just kind of a balancing bridge channel. And that's with the pipe going in. And we drilled from this side, pipes going in from this side. They're pulling back with the rig. It's back there, it's hard to see. And that's what we got for pictures for that project. This is from the archives. This is at the Alpert residence in Charlotte. And it was a combination ready rock wall and cast in place concrete back quite a few years ago.
Still looks good.
2007.
It looks really good from when you're out on the lake or if you're in the air looking at it. It stands out.
Yeah, well, that's the only problem with a lot of these seawalls. They look like a fortress
It does.
from the water.
Well, that one's pretty cool because of the way the guys did it with the curve.
Yep. Yeah, it certainly is not like a big what do they call them, a citadel,
Yeah.
like West Point or something. But still, from the water, nowadays they try to make a more subtle, you know,